Hey everyone, welcome back to Streetball AllStars. Today, we'll be breaking down the character that recently just has risen to popularity. We're talking about Ayumi. Let's get into it. Alright, so firstly, let's talk about what Ayumi is. So, Ayumi is a shooting guard who specializes in defense. And previously she actually specialized in pure defense, but now after the change she actually has way better offensive capabilities. She is still defense focused mostly, but she still has really good defensive capabilities. It's still she is still very much good at defense, but she is now better at offense. So firstly, let's take a look at her stats. So looking here at her stats, you can see that, as a shooting guard, she has 63-point shot, which is actually pretty low, compared to other shooting guards, but it's still decent enough to where she can hit her three-pointers, just not as consistently as others. Again though, after the Ace update, she definitely can hit them more consistently now. There are other better scorers, as I've said before, but 60 is pretty low for a shooting guard. Still, it is decent. She also has 58 mid-range, which is actually pretty good. So she's a good mid-range shooter as well. But where she really shines are here. Her 72 steal stat, that is really good. That steal stat is really good. So again, she specializes in defense, and stealing is the defense that she does actually do her best job in. She also has 76 speed. That's also really good, even for a shooting guard. That means she is also good at locking down her opponents, chasing down after the scorers. She does a really good job at defending them as well. So with that, what do I actually recommend you give her? Well, honestly, I'd say give her pure steel. That is the build that I'm currently actually wearing. This set is actually pretty weak compared to my other sets, but I'd say give her just pure steel, so that you can actually boost her defensive capabilities even more. Since giving her much more offensive, stats doesn't really help that much. And I do recommend you give her just pure steel, just to boost her stealing ability even more. So let's take a look at her skills. So as you can see here in her skill set, she has a vast variety of different skills. They're not really focused on one thing. They're a good mix for a shooting guard. So let's talk about them one by one, starting with fadeaway 3 points. Not too much to talk about this. Incredibly important, especially after the Ace update. If you've watched the video where I say, Marcus's dirty secret, you'd know that shooting guards are incredibly good right now with their fadeaway 3-pointers. They are sinking, so many of them. As long as you have 193 plus 3-point rating, you are going to be sinking all your fadeaway shots pretty consistently. So make sure to get that. Second, we have quick fill-in. Not really mandatory, not really, needed by everyone, but it is nice to have. It is pretty useful at times. So I do recommend that you get this. Again, not mandatory, but it's nice to have on your skill set. Next up, we have step back. Very important, even for Ayumi. This helps you with your dribble package. I'd say get this as well. Max it out once you are able to. And next up, we'll go to her exclusive skills. Firstly, we have flash shot. Make sure to get this. Anybody, and I mean any character who has flash shot available, should get it immediately. Max it out as soon as you can. This is your offense initiator. It's very important even for Ayumi. This is a really important skill to have. Make sure to get this as well. Now we'll go to sidestep and shoot. This is the skill that I was talking about that was given to her on the change. This just makes her offensively more powerful. Very, very useful skill to have. This is basically your main scoring option. Make sure to get this. It is very much needed. It is your main offensive skill. Make sure to max this out as soon as possible. Next up, in my opinion, her most important skill, stealing dive. Now, this used to only be 4 steals. If you steal, you immediately dive for the ball. But now it was combined with intercepts as well. At least that's what we're told. In all honesty, I actually don't feel it, or I actually don't feel intercepting dive anymore. I really don't feel like my intercepts are boosted anymore after, they combined the two. But, it is what they said. Maybe it's just placebo on my part, but I really don't feel the difference. But anyway, that's besides the point. Very much important, especially if intercept dive did actually combine with stealing dive. Make sure to get this. Very important for Ayumi. This is her most important skill, especially since she is a defensive shooting guard. Now lastly, we have sliding dive. Not as good as a normal dive, not at all, but still a dive. It is way better than not having a dive. This is one of her most important skills as well. She is a diving shooting guard because of this skill, so make sure to get this as well. Very much needed for Ayumi. Very, very useful to have on her. So yeah, let's go ahead and look into a match where I use some of these skills, and we'll talk about Ayumi some more. So firstly, we'll talk about which teammates you actually want to give Ayumi, and I've said it before, Ayumi already has a dive. Pairing her with another point guard is not the best idea out there. So since she already has a dive, her offensive capabilities are limited, so she will need support when it comes to actually scoring, which is where box out actually comes in important. So either give her Butterball, which very specific character, that one. He really does help out with Ayumi when it comes to actually helping her out with scoring. So you can use Butterball. His enhanced screens actually do help Ayumi a lot offensively, but you can also use defensive power forwards with Ayumi, and that's actually what I recommend some more. Speed Nikolai or maybe Power Nikolai, Alto, Ranger. They are very, very good characters to actually pair with Ayumi, or a secondary scorer as well might work. But yeah, defensive power forwards, Butterball, or secondary scorers, those are the ones that you're gonna want to team Ayumi up with. Second, alright, which team ups or teams are you gonna want to actually get with Ayumi, or you're gonna want to avoid? And honestly, I'd say none. Ayumi is actually very, very good as a character, but she doesn't really have any weaknesses nor any strengths when it comes to actually defending other characters. So I'd say no one. It's always going to be just neutral if you play Ayumi. So you don't really have any matchups that you need to worry about or to actually want to get. So lastly, we'll talk about meta and the difficulty of actually using Ayumi here. And in all honesty, Ayumi isn't really meta. She became very popular because of her new offensive skill, but that's really about it. That is really the main reason why she got so popular in the first place. It's not really about her defense, it's because of her sidestep shot that she got so popular, which I think is a missed opportunity for sure. But yeah, she's not really meta, and against other characters she does fine. She doesn't really dominate, doesn't play horribly against them. She does an alright job. So I'd say she isn't meta, but she is definitely usable right now. Well, anyways guys, that's it for this video. I hope that this has been helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.